I'm Eliza, a 42-year-old part-time employee, and my life is wonderfully full with my husband and our two sons, who are in high school. Our elder son, a senior, is preparing for college entrance exams with hopes of pursuing a career in law, much like his uncle Liam, my brother, who runs his successful law firm. Inspired from a young age by Liam's achievements and dedication, my son aims to emulate his uncle, who encourages him to chase his dreams whenever they meet. Liam, who stepped into a fatherly role for me after we lost our parents early in life, married a woman 10 years his junior. Unlike Liam, who enjoys engaging with our family, his wife tends to keep her distance, rarely visiting our home, which means we seldom see her. This has made it challenging to form a close bond with her, and her consistently somber demeanor often leaves us puzzled, especially during what should be joyful family occasions. Before my marriage, Liam had been a cornerstone of support, and soon after, he followed by marrying his younger fiancé. Initially, we were hopeful about welcoming her into our family, but her reserved and often gloomy presence during their engagement and wedding left my husband and me concerned. Despite our efforts to make her feel included, offering compliments and engaging in conversation, she remained distant, prompting private conversations between my husband and me about her apparent unhappiness. This complex dynamic within our family contrasts starkly with the stability and love in our immediate household, where we nurture our son's ambitions and cherish our time together. As we navigate these family relationships, we continue to support each other, hoping for understanding and connection in the future. Recently, my husband and I visited my brother at his new home, a place so grand it truly showcased his success in the law field. Despite the impressive surroundings, my sister-in-law's absence was noticeably odd, prompting a jest from my husband about her having an abandoned ship. This joke, however, landed awkwardly, only adding tension when my brother explained that his wife was at her parents' home celebrating her mother's birthday. Later, during our visit, my brother, with a straight face, asked us a serious question that took us by surprise. He inquired whether, in a scenario where he couldn't have children, we might consider letting him adopt one of ours. At first, I thought he was joking, but the earnest look in his eyes told another story. While I was stunned and speechless, my husband responded with a lighthearted, "Who knows what the future holds? We can cross that bridge when we get to it if we're all comfortable with it." Despite my husband's casual take, the conversation left a lingering weight on me, intensifying my concerns about the dynamics in my brother's marriage and the profound suggestion of adoption. Over the years, whenever my brother visited, either our home or his, he was always alone, and conversations about his wife became virtually non-existent, her presence slowly fading into the background of our family interactions. This pattern continued until recently, when we celebrated my eldest son's acceptance into his dream law school. During the festivities, my brother revisited the adoption topic, this time with a palpable sense of urgency due to their ongoing struggles with infertility. Once again, my husband responded lightly, suggesting humorously that perhaps my brother might consider our eldest, given his aspirations in law, a field they both are passionate about. While my husband maintained a casual demeanor, I remained deeply thoughtful, considering the significant implications such a decision would entail, not just for us but profoundly for our sons. Navigating this delicate topic requires careful thought and consideration, especially knowing that it involves my brother, someone who has been a pivotal figure in our lives. The concern about how my sister-in-law might treat my sons, who are not her biological children, lingered in my mind. Seeking some peace of mind, I approached my brother delicately to inquire if his wife was agreeable to the idea of adoption. His response, though marked by a wry smile, brought a bit of relief. "Don't fret over her. We've discussed it already," he assured me. While reassured that they had talked it over, I was not ready to make an immediate decision. I decided to involve my sons in the discussion, considering they were in high school and capable of expressing their views. We left the matter open that day. A few days later, the situation took a dramatic turn. I received an urgent call from my brother's lawyer's office informing me that he had collapsed at work and had been rushed to the hospital. In a panic, I hurried to the hospital where the law firm staff, clearly anxious, awaited updates. It turned out my brother had suffered a stroke and was now unconscious. As the law firm staff departed, leaving me alone with my worry, I realized they had been unable to reach my sister-in-law. I tried calling the landline without success and, realizing I didn't have her cell phone number, felt stuck. Soon, my husband and younger son arrived, and it was my son who discovered a smartphone among my brother's belongings. After some effort, we unlocked it and found her contact information. When she finally answered the phone, her initial response was harsh and defensive. "I want you not to call again. I'll take legal action," she snapped. Amidst her tirade, I quickly interjected, "It's Eliza, Liam's sister. My brother has collapsed and is in the hospital." Her tone shifted immediately upon realizing who I was. "Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I mistook you for someone else." "You said he collapsed?" she asked. After I updated her on his condition and the hospital location, her reaction was unnervingly casual. "I'm unable to come to the hospital right now due to prior commitments. Please keep me informed," she said before ending the call abruptly. Her indifferent response left me puzzled and concerned about her priorities, especially given her husband's serious condition. It became clear she wouldn't be much help, so we resolved to manage on our own. With my eldest son having just completed his university entrance exams and available to assist, we prepared to support my brother through his recovery, navigating this challenging time as a tight-knit family unit. At home, my eldest son took on the duty of visiting my brother at the hospital every day on my behalf. Despite our best efforts, my brother remained unconscious, and his condition was critical. Throughout this tough time, my sister-in-law did not reach out or visit the hospital. Nearly a week after my brother was admitted, I decided to try contacting her again. This time, she picked up quickly, her tone shockingly cheerful. "What's the matter? Is he dead?" she blurted out, showing a complete lack of empathy. Trying to keep my composure, I asked her calmly, "He's still alive. Why haven't you visited him at the hospital?" Her indifferent reply only heightened my frustration. "I'm neither a doctor nor a miracle worker. There's nothing I can do for his recovery," she said dismissively. I was so taken aback by her callousness that I ended the call, my anger hard to contain. This interaction made me start to question the real motives behind my brother's sudden interest in adopting one of my sons. It dawned on me that maybe he was facing the reality of not having children with his wife, hinting at deeper issues in their marriage. Out of curiosity, I asked him how they met after their wedding, and he disclosed that they were introduced through a marriage counseling agency. This revelation stirred a mix of emotions in me, particularly the suspicion that my sister-in-law might have married my brother more for the security his successful law career provided than for love. These thoughts deepened my unease, but when I shared my fears with my husband, his reaction stung even more. He pointed out that if Liam were to pass away in his current state, his entire estate would go to his wife since they had no children. This comment struck me hard, especially as my brother had just celebrated my eldest son's recent achievements and brought up the topic of adoption again. I couldn't shake the feeling that his interest in adoption might be driven more by concerns about his inheritance than genuine familial affection. Feeling powerless and unsure how to proceed, I later casually brought up the adoption discussion with my sons. To my surprise, my younger son was quite enthusiastic about the idea, seeing it as an opportunity for a more secure future under Liam's care. Unlike his brother, he was more relaxed about his future, without clear aspirations like his elder sibling, who looked up to Liam greatly. This unexpected response from my younger son added another layer of complexity to an already difficult situation, leaving me with much to consider about the future and well-being of both my sons and my brother. But his response took me by surprise. "I don't want to be adopted," he stated firmly. "As the eldest, it's my responsibility to take care of you, Mom and Dad." His words filled me with pride, yet I couldn't help but feel that my eldest son, with his ambitions to become a lawyer, was actually the more suitable candidate for adoption. Although part of me wanted to proceed with the adoption of my now unconscious brother, various circumstances thwarted these efforts. Despite not wanting any part of my brother's inheritance for myself, the thought of my sister-in-law, who seemed almost eager for his demise, inheriting everything, was unbearable. All I could cling to was hope for my brother's recovery, a hope that was shattered when he passed away a few days later. It then fell upon me to inform my sister-in-law of his death. "Can we arrange a funeral?" I asked when I called her with the somber news. Her response was unexpectedly cheerful. "You have the final say. Just please don't involve me in any formalities," she said, ending the call abruptly. Overwhelmed with frustration but holding back my emotions, my husband and I took the lead in organizing the funeral, supported by the law firm's staff. While my husband voiced concerns about the future of the firm, my brother ensured its continuity by appointing a competent individual to manage it, allowing the firm to operate smoothly as a corporation. The funeral was a significant event, attended by a multitude of mourners, which included presidents of major corporations, politicians, and other dignitaries. This massive turnout was a testament to the profound impact my brother had on many lives. As the ceremony unfolded, I couldn't help but marvel at what an incredible person my brother had been. My son helped throughout the proceedings, but his mood shifted as he noticed the influential figures paying their respects. "I should have been the one adopted," he lamented bitterly, realizing just how remarkable his uncle truly was. My husband and I shared in his sorrow, understanding the weight of his realization. Throughout the funeral, where I served as a pallbearer, no one mentioned the absence of my sister-in-law, nor was it a topic of conversation. It struck me that possibly many were not even aware of my brother's marital status. They hadn't had a wedding ceremony, only a honeymoon. Reflecting on this, I harbored regrets. If only they hadn't married, we wouldn't be in a situation where a wife failed to show up at her husband's funeral. As we concluded the funeral for my brother, I found myself regretting not having allowed him to adopt my younger son sooner, especially with the fear that my sister-in-law might attempt to take control of his considerable estate. In an effort to unite everyone after such a solemn event, I invited the attendees to gather at my brother's house for a meal. "Thanks to all of you, my brother can now rest in peace," I announced, my voice heavy with sorrow. Amidst our shared mourning, my sister-in-law made an unexpected appearance, clad in a flashy pink coat, as if her timing was choreographed with the funeral's end. Surprised and suspicious, I confronted her. "Why have you chosen this moment to come?" She responded with a wide grin, loudly proclaiming for all to hear, "As my husband's wife, I inherit his $95 million estate along with his house. With no children in the picture, everything belongs to me." Her declaration triggered laughter from some of my brother's colleagues, which seemed puzzling until one of them interjected, revealing a shocking truth. "We're aware that you're officially divorced." Stunned, I blurted out, "You were divorced?" I couldn't believe that she was no longer legally connected to my brother the day before his sudden collapse. Her face turned cold as she met the eyes of those who revealed the truth, her anger barely contained. Another lawyer added fuel to the fire. "I've also heard you were ordered to pay alimony because of the affair that led to your divorce." Furious, she retorted, "I'm not obligated to pay alimony anymore. There's no one left to pay." However, she was quickly corrected by a legal expert. "The right to alimony transfers upon inheritance, so you'll still owe it to Eliza, the sole inheritor." That was the moment it hit me. With their divorce finalized and our parents gone, I was the last remaining family member, the sole inheritor of my brother's estate. Realizing her position, her demeanor shifted from defiance to dismay as she locked eyes with me, prompting me to take a step back. Yet she remained confrontational. "Don't I deserve half of the estate now that the divorce is settled?" A lawyer, looking with dismay, countered, "Didn't Liam provide you with funds upon the finalization of the divorce?" "I have the receipt certificate." Another chimed in. "He also acquired a house before the marriage, so it isn't subject to property division." Despite the tense atmosphere, she recalled another potential asset with a slight chuckle. "There's still the life insurance. I should be the beneficiary." Her resilience was notable, even as she navigated through this hostile environment. But as she smirked, adding, "I changed the beneficiary of Liam's life insurance to myself." A lawyer promptly disputed her claim. Liam was resolute, so it's likely he made that change upon finalizing the divorce. Later, as I sifted through my brother's belongings, I found the life insurance policy. However, before I could examine it, My sister-in-law saw it and swiftly snatched the document from my hands. Her impatience was evident as she scrutinized the beneficiary, desperate to find her name there. My sister-in-law's demeanor quickly changed to one of disappointment as she handed back the certificate to me, her shoulders drooping. It was at that moment I realized I was the beneficiary, rendering her efforts useless. Frustrated, she openly shared her true feelings. I married a lawyer thinking he was wealthy, but all I got was a tiny inheritance, and now I have to manage with little alimony. It's a huge mistake. The lawyer present hardened his expression in response, recalling that Liam had expressed similar regrets about consulting a marriage counselor, a decision he deeply regretted. Although my brother never shared these feelings with me directly, his reputation for honesty was well recognized among his peers. Over time, burdened by the need to pay alimony without stable work, my sister-in-law frantically looked for job opportunities. Her lack of dedication resulted in a series of brief employments. In a desperate attempt to secure a quick fortune, she approached a marriage counseling agency aiming to entice a wealthy individual with promises of a profitable marriage. She exploited his trust, but her plan quickly fell apart when he saw through her deceit and reported her for marriage fraud. She was arrested, facing the reality of her schemes. Meanwhile, the lawyer from my brother's firm clarified that no alimony had ever been paid to me. In May, he updated me that with her arrest, any chance of receiving alimony was unlikely. Yet, my main concern wasn't the money. I wanted her to face the repercussions of her actions and suffer the fate she deserved. I was confident my brother would agree, which is why I hoped for a thorough police investigation into her other wrongdoings and for her to be charged and brought to justice. In these events, my family moved into a spacious house left by my brother, a sharp contrast to our previous cramped apartment. The move thrilled my husband and sons. Inspired by the events, my eldest son dove into his law studies with renewed zeal, motivated by the work ethic he observed in my brother's colleagues. He hoped to continue my brother's legacy and excel in law. However, my younger son felt a pang of disappointment upon learning I had inherited my brother's entire estate. "I wish I had been adopted by uncle, so I could have inherited everything," he said half-jokingly, yet his smile hinted at a genuine desire.